Hey everyone, so I'm back finally with the part 2 of the tutorial. Um, I know it took a really long time for this video to come out, but I just want to say that I've been at work. I've been doing some stuff. I've, I've been doing I've gotten way better at CV2 in the process of making this video and while doing it, so that's why I'm going to be including a CV2 tutorial as well as the recap of the CV1, also including Foxy's AI, as you can see right here, was a working camera system. So that's going to be that's going to be awesome. I'm going to be going over, going over all of sorry. I'm going to be re-going over all of the CV1 stuff. I'm going to be re-going over this and providing a more detailed AI, also as well as a more detailed explanation, as well as for this. I'm also going to be including Foxy's AI for CV1. If there's no other tutorials on how to do that. I don't know if there is. So I'm just so anyways, there's also gonna be you won't see it in the video, but I'm gonna be working on the CV2 for Foxy's AI because I finished the CV1 for regular animatronics. It's right here. I'm in CV2 for this if I didn't say that. So that's gonna be interesting. Also, if my mic sounds weird, that's because I'm not using the Oculus mic to record this. I'm using my phone microphone because this one it's not working right. I tried it yesterday and it was working just fine, but now it's not. Now I'm recording the video, second take, it's not. So that's fun. Anyways, this video is going to be split up into different sections. It's going to be split up into the CV. It's going to be split up into 4 different sections. 2 for this, 2 for the CV1 and CV2 regular, and 2 for the Foxy, CV1 and CV2. If you want me to make a tutorial on the power system, some moving, some moving variables, or anything like that, just tell me in the comments. I read those, if you couldn't tell already from my previous tutorial. So you can give any suggestions on what I should make a tutorial for next, and I'll probably consider it. Okay, I'm gonna stop yapping and let's just get on with the first part. Okay, hey guys. So now that we're done with the CV1 portion of the video, now we're gonna be moving on to the CV2 portion, which I'm very bad at explaining. I'm bad at explaining CV2. I'm just gonna say it right now. So if this takes one take, then I'll be really happy. If it takes more than one take, say the more you know. Okay, so anyways, the first thing you're gonna need to start this is a CV2 state machine. So it should have the icon should be a little star right here, and we're gonna place that down right there. Now we're gonna make everything is going to happen inside this state machine. So all of our AI, all our math, everything's gonna be going in and then out of this state machine. So next, let's get our model. I'm again gonna go for a white rectangle right here. You just want a model that you can work with. Doesn't necessarily have to be a simple one, but just one that you can mess with around stuff. And once we have that, now we're actually gonna go to here and configure our state machine. Now you'll see default state. We're not gonna worry about that now, but what we do want to worry about is we're gonna put on synced. We're gonna take that on, and then we're gonna add port group. Now this is gonna do, it's gonna allow us to add inputs and outputs to our state machine circuit board. This is used to basically control the circuit board the state machine from the outside without having to really edit it directly. Just need to make things go in and out and then add stuff in between inside the state machine. So we're going to enter name, we're going to click add port group, then enter name. I'm going to name this AI. And once you do that, you should see that you can now click on this tab and it'll put open inputs and outputs. Now for this input, we're going to add input port. We're going to keep this as an execution input and we're going to label it start. We're going to add another input port. We're going to label this, we're going to click on this. We're going to select float and we're going to label this time to move. Then we're going to add another input port. This one we're going to put it as an integer or int. And we're going to label that one AI value. And now let's add our last two input ports. This one we're going to change to a bool, which is right next to execution. We're going to label this one door closed. And for our last input chip, we're going to keep it as an execution. And we're just going to label this one reset. Alright, so now you should have, it should look like this. The name state machine. I'm going to go ahead and change the name of the state machine so that's easier. I'm going to name it AI control and then submit. So now it's named AI control. So now for your outputs, this is where you can do what you want. So as you can see here, I have our example right here. It's not quite the same order, but what we're going to do is we're going to add however many outputs as you want states in your AI, +1 for your jump scare state. So you're just gonna click add output port that many times. I'm gonna add 3 plus 1 for my jump scare. I want to label the first one stage 1. Label the second one stage 2. Label the third one stage 3. And I'll label the fourth one door. And then I'm going to add +1. And I'm going to label it jump scare. So now we have our state machine's controls set up. Let's actually get a CV2 toggle button, whatever. You're gonna get 2 of these. Should be CV2. Should have this on top of it. 2 toggle buttons. Now this first one is gonna be for our door. We're actually gonna go connect. We're gonna drag is pressed over to the door closed. And that's all we need for this toggle button. And for this one, let's go to pressed. What the? I didn't. Well, I've seen that before. Anyways, wait, let me go back to here. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Oh, I just need to go back over there to my finished example. You know, go to the press over to start, and then released to reset. Now that we have that set up, see, now we press this button and blah blah blah. And we actually haven't done anything with it yet, so that's what we're the state machine. We haven't put any AI into it yet, and that's actually what we're gonna do now. So let's edit our state machine. Now I spread my input and output bar apart before we did this, but if you didn't do that, then it should look something like this, with this one state in the middle, and this input and output to the left and right of it. You're gonna want to move these out of the way so we can actually work on the state right here. There's these states. Now you can individually spawn in one state for one output. You just search up state. I'm gonna go into here to be easier. Yes, you can see. I don't think you can actually spawn in states. I don't know when they changed that, but looks like you can't spawn in states anymore, which sucks. You have to actually now copy and paste. So now I have to actually copy and paste the state, which is uh so time consuming, but you know what, we can work with it. We can work with it. So we're actually gonna be making our movement opportunity system and our states separately, and then we're just gonna copy and paste them for all of these except for this one and this one. Actually, never mind. You know, we are gonna copy and paste all these states. We're just gonna be changing them up a little bit for these two, but essentially gonna be the same. So let's go ahead and configure our state chip, and we're gonna add a port group to this one too. Just name this whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. name it CX. And for input, we're gonna get execution, and I'm gonna label this go to next. So it's pretty self-explanatory what that does. For output, we're gonna keep this one blank, and we're gonna set the second one, add a second one. It's gonna be a bool, and we're gonna put this one, we're gonna do this one as activate movement opportunity math. So I shortened it to mom. I was gonna shorten it to mom. So I'm gonna do that just because I'm gonna go ahead and go over here, yeah. So ignoring that, we have this. Let's continue configuring it. Let's name our first output animation. So we know that's what it's gonna animate it to. Now let's edit our state. And now you see we have these here. And what we're gonna need is we're gonna connect go to next to go to state, and then go to state to animation. Now actually what this is going to do is when we move to the next state, which is go to next, it's going to play the animation for that next state, which might seem counterintuitive, but it's going to work out, trust me. So now let's get two bool variables. Oh my god, so let me spawn it in. You don't really have to rename these bool variables, you just need to have two of them and to make sure that they have the same name. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it so I don't have to individually spawn two in. But we're gonna connect state did enter to this top one, and then state will exit to this bottom one. Now let's go over to this value. We're gonna press that once and it's gonna make this one true, so that when we toggle this, it's gonna output true on both of them. Toggle this one, it's gonna output false on both of them. So now let's connect the output of whichever when you want to activate MOM. And that's basically it. You can leave this as undefined until we move on to our next, until we can copy and paste it. Now I'm gonna rename this to just stage 1. And now let's go ahead and make our movement opportunity system. So let's get a circuit board. Place that down. Let's configure it. Name it movement opportunity. Submit. Here we go. So now let's add a port group. Name this whatever. And then for outputs, for inputs, we're gonna have a bool variable as our first input. We're gonna name that activate. And we're gonna have a float variable for our second input. We're gonna label that as time to move. And for our third input, we're gonna name that AI value. Now we're gonna edit this in a second, but for right now, let's get output, and we're just gonna name this when successful, which basically means that when our movement opportunity is successful, then it's going to, it's going to move on to the next state. Which, leading on, let's connect our when successful to go to next, and activate MOM to activate. We're not going to use these values right now. We're actually going to get a bool variable and a float. Actually, not bool, float variable. And a integer variable for those. And I'm going to name these AI value and the float variable is just time to move again. Then we're going to connect the time to move from our inputs from earlier, from this total state machine, into time to move in the float variable, and our AI value to the AI value, just like that. Sorry, oh my god. So now that we have those, we're gonna get a event receiver. Place that down. We're gonna configure our event receiver, and we're gonna go down to update 30 hertz. And this is gonna do, it's gonna output every frame, and we're gonna connect that to our time to move variable, and then connect the when our time to move variable is executed, it's gonna execute the AI value variable, which means that these will be updated every frame. When we change it, it'll be instantly changed. Now let's connect the output of our time to move to time to move here, and our AI value to AI value in the movement opportunity. Now we can edit our movement opportunity system and spread these apart. And first we're gonna need an if chip. And we're gonna need another event receiver for 30 hertz. Do that. Then we're gonna connect our condition to activate of our input activate, and then drag the update 30 hertz output to the if. Next, we're gonna get a delay and we're actually not going to change this delay. We're just going to put the else on cancel, the then on run. We're going to get another delay, actually, put that right on top of it, and we're going to connect the after delay to the run of our second delay, and then our after delay or our second delay to cancel the same delay. And now we're going to connect our the second one's delay to time to move. And what this, the after delay cancel is, it just makes sure it outputs on our delay integer exactly. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna have to go back to here to check this. And all right, next up, ignore that. Next up, we're gonna get a random integer chip. A less than or equal chip. Less or equal chip. And another chip. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is connect our less than or equal output to our if, our random integer output to the a value of our less or equal, the b of our less or equal to our ai value, the else value of our if to the run of this delay, the then of this if to when successful, the cancel of this random of this delay to random integer, and then the output of random integer execution to the if. Now I'll explain this in a second, but for now let's get our number set up. So for this min, which is value of our random integer, you can just click it with your connect, automatically pull up the configure menu. We're going to set that to value of your lowest AI value. So you want your animatronic to be able to move that. And our max for random integer to the highest AI value you want your animatronic to have. Actually, I was wrong here. It's the after delay you want to connect to your run. And you want to connect your delay, your first delay, to the delta time of your event receiver. So I'm going to explain this now. What this is doing is checking if we should activate our movement opportunity system with this if, and if it's not, then it's going to cancel this delay, which basically cancels the power for this, which updates every frame. Now, if it is successful, then it's going to run this delay, and when it does, it's going to run this delay, which after it's done, it's going to cancel itself, which I don't know exactly how this works, but I do know that while with this setup, it's not going to run multiple times over itself. It's just going to run at the interval of the delay seconds here that we put here. So So every seconds this delay, it's gonna cancel itself, and then it's gonna send an execution to randomly generate a number between our minimum and maximum value, and then that gets compared to be less than or equal to our AI value, and then that's going to be checked with this if, see if it's less than or equal to, if our random number is less than or equal to our AI value, and if that's true, then it's going to send a successful output, which is going to send us to the next stage. And if it's not true, then it's just going to run it all over again. So there. Right, now we're ready to start copy and pasting. So select both of these and then copy and paste it. No, I didn't mean to do it. I'm gonna copy and paste it to however many times, to however many outputs you have right here, which I have 5. So I'm gonna copy and paste this 5 times. 3, 4, and 5. Now for this 5th one, which is your jump scare animation, you're actually gonna delete the movement opportunity that's connected to it, so it's just left all by itself. And we're actually gonna copy and paste that state. You can copy paste any one of these, just configure it, and then delete the activate MOM and 2 bool variables that are inside it. Make sure you've configured this to go to your first stage 1, to your stage 1. Now to do that, we can just rename all these to our corresponding these. I'm name this one stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and door. And finally, jump scare. It's gonna go right here, all by itself. Now it's just gonna be easier to select which ones we want it to go to. And now we can edit this and check if it's connected to our stage 1. We can name this one whatever, just make sure it's not the same name as any of your other states. I'm gonna name this reset because this is the state we'll reset to when our EI is not active. So let's check this again, edit it, configure this, and set it to our first stage of cycle. Let's edit our stage 1. I'm gonna configure this state to go to our second stage. It's so on. This will go to third stage. Oh, sorry. This stage 3 will go to my door stage or your 4th stage. Oh my god. Alright, my door stage. Okay, my door stage will go to jump scare stage. In my jump scare stage, will go all the way back to this the reset stage. We actually don't need the bool variables in here either, so you can just delete those. Figure output port that. Alright, so now let's get wait. I'm confused again by myself. Alright. So now let's get two bool variables. Let's get two bool variables. We're gonna rename the first one you spawn in to activated. And then we're gonna copy and paste that. We're gonna check the top one to true with our connect tool. We're gonna drag the start input to our true, and then the output of that to the go to next of our reset state. And then our reset, we're gonna connect a reset input. We're gonna connect to the one that's the false, the activated that's false, that variable. Then we're gonna connect the output of that to go to next or jump scare state. No, this is connected to anything. No, it's not. Wow, it's really not. Crazy. Turns out I was really goofy, stupid. Turns out I was stupid and didn't actually need these for anything. So, woo. Stupid. So, you're just gonna connect the reset straight to the jump scare state and the start straight to the reset state. It might not make sense now, but it is going to make some sense. Now let's go to our door state. Let's figure this input. We're gonna add an input port, change that to a bool, and we're gonna name it door closed. And then let's edit it. And instead of keeping it the same, we're gonna add an if chip. We're gonna with this, we're gonna copy and paste it. And we're gonna configure this state to our first stage. We're gonna reconnect our go to next to this if. We're gonna set condition. We're gonna connect this condition to our door closed. And connect this else to the go to state that was for our jump scare, and then to our go to stage that is our first stage. Let me check. I'm going back and forth, all the way back. And we're gonna add another output with that we're gonna name this one to go back. We're gonna name our animation output to jump scare, just so we know. Oh, we're gonna and if it's already connected, we're gonna if it's not already connected, you're gonna connect the output of our go-to state to our jump scare, and the output for stage 1 to go back. Our go-to state for stage 1 to go back. So it should look like this. Now we're gonna connect our door closed tutorial to our door closed here. Now let's reconnect our AI value and our time to move variables to all these here. You just want to connect the output to each of your respective movement opportunity mass circuit boards. And now we're ready to connect our animations. So what we're going to do is, for our outputs, our animations, we're going to connect it to the next state in the cycle. So for stage 1, our animation output is going to go to stage 2. If it's going to, can let me look at it. Jeez. Our stage 2 animation output is going to go to stage 3. Stage 3 output is going to go to my door stage, or your stage 4. My door output, my door jump scare output is going to go to the jump scare output here. My go back for my door is going to go to the output for stage 1. Actually, it can be stage 1 or stage 2. I'm gonna go at stage 2 because I want my stage 1 to be not at literally, but he's on the stage. So this is the first stage, and it's all gonna be reset back to stage 2 because it doesn't. You don't. The animatronics doesn't get reset all the way back to the stage. It kind of like go almost back to the stage. So I don't know why. Why does this have? Oh my god, why does this have an input for a go back? That's not supposed to happen. Just get right here. Stop. Now. I'm going background of my recording. If you can hear that, you probably can hear that. But whatever. Anyways, we're gonna get the output of our reset to stage 1, as well as the output of our jump scare state. So now we should be ready. So now we can set these values to where we want. I'm going to set my AI value to 20, my time to move to 3. Now let's actually make our animations. If you saw my CV1 tutorial for this, it should be pretty simple for you to figure this out. You just need a CV2 animation controller this time, since CV1 doesn't not work too perfectly with this. You get a CV2 animation controller, and you're gonna configure it to be not looping. And if you want allow holding to be off, you can turn that off. It just stops you from being able to hold the objects in the animation. You can also rename this to the state you want it to represent. I'm going to rename this animation control to stage 1. And then we're going to copy and paste it however many outputs you have on your AI controller. So I'm gonna copy and paste this 5 times. I'm gonna name these their respective stages. I keep saying states. I don't know why, but it's supposed to say stages. Yeah, I keep saying states when I know it should be saying stages. But anyways, let's just rename these all to what we want them to represent. The name doesn't change anything. It's just easier to keep track of. So now let's go to our connect. Let's connect stage 1 output to our stage 2 to our stage 2 animation, stage 3 output, stage 3 animation, so on, door, jump scare. You can put finish to stop if you want, but if you already have looping off, this isn't really going to change much. Just a sort of foolproof plan of sorts. So now we can move our model and then connect it to whatever, move our model to whatever position we want, and then drag and select and drag and connect to the animation we want our animatronic to snap to when it's done. So I'm gonna move this forward like that. Stage 2, you see object add to animation every time you do this, so you know it's working. For your jump scare, you can do the same thing, except we can now edit our animation as well. Add frame, and then move this if you want. It's gonna act the same as the CV1 animation as well, just CV2. Okay, so now that we have all this set up, let's try it out. Try to start it. And it just snaps to her. Just scared. Yeah. Alright. What happened? What is active? Oh, I know. I've. Oh my god. We edited these wrong. So yeah, that's good. And this is in stage 3. That's wrong. It should be going to stage 1. Yeah. Okay. So that was user error. Get started and go to stage 2, stage 3, our door. We close that. Go back to. It's gonna go back. Alright. Let's wait with the door not closed. Jump scare. And there we go. Now you can reset. You'll have to reset it manually every time it goes to the jump scare stage. But if you don't want to do that, I don't know. Figure out you said. yeah, you're gonna have to reset it manually every time it goes into the jump scare stage. So that's a bummer, but hey, at least it works. So now let's set it to a lower AI value, 6. Let's start it now. See, now it's taking long. It's taking longer to do it. It keeps failing. See, there we go. It finally moved after like an eternity. So now we're gonna there we go. It works, and I didn't mess up. I only messed up a couple of times. It's like the first take. Oh my god. I was so nervous before starting up recording because I thought I was gonna fumble so badly on the explanation. It turned out, but I didn't. So I'm really proud of that. That's awesome. Ooh, so it just starts automatically once you reset it. Nice. Let's put this at 20 and make things go fast. So, good news. That's the CV2 tutorial for our normal AI. Again, if you want to see, again, that's the next tutorial for this will be the next part coming up is the Foxy AI, which is actually a lot simpler than you think. You just need to adjust a few things about the one we have here. And we're also gonna include the camera system tutorial for those who haven't seen it yet. For those who just skipped to this portion of the video and haven't seen it yet. So yeah. But the next cut will be into it. Alright. Let's begin. Okay, so before we move on to our Foxy AI, let's just make some tweaks to the current one we have here. And make sure that when we reset this, it's not going to still output this successful movement opportunity unless it's been started. So we're gonna get we're gonna get two bool variables. I'm gonna name these reset. Then I'm gonna clone this so that I don't have to manually change the name for the other one. Anyways, I'm gonna redirect my jump scare output to the false of the reset. And I'm gonna redirect the reset output to the another one, the next one, the other one. And then I'm gonna take this to true. So what this does is when this actually resets and goes to here. And so it's gonna put that at false, and when this outputs and goes to our stage 1, so we're gonna connect to the output of both these resets. It's gonna take this on true. So what we're gonna use that for is
It's gonna take this on true. So
to
what we're gonna use
prevent
that for is
this. Unless this
to
is true,
prevent
then we're not gonna go to
is
next on any of
unless
these.
this is true, then
So
we're
we're
not
gonna
gonna
put an
go to next on any of these.
if next to all of our
We're gonna
movement
put an
opportunity circuit boards.
if next
If
to
it
all
automatically
of our movement
redirects
opportunity
CDF, that's
circuit
fine. That's what
boards.
we're
If it
needing.
automatically
But if it doesn't, then you
redirects
just
PDF, that's fine.
connect.
That's what we're
You connect colon,
needing.
drag
But
it
if it doesn't,
back
then just
to the if.
connect connect colon
Now let's
drag it
drag a
back
condition
to the
to
if.
any one of these reset out
Now let's
variable
drag a
outputs,
condition to any one of these reset
any one of these
out
red
variable
output
outputs.
pins. You do either
Any
one.
one of
I'm going
these
for the top
red
one
output
because
pins. You
first
do either
saw.
one. I'm going for the top one because
Now let's
first
drag
one saw.
the then of our if to the go to next
Now let's drag
for
the
all of
then
these.
of our if to the go to next for all of these.
So now you can start this back up
So now
and it'll
we can
continue, but when we
back
reset
up
it,
and
it won't
it'll
continue.
continue, but when we reset it,
Because the
it
problem we
won't
had
continue.
before is that even though we reset it, the movement
Because the
opportunity
problem we had before
math was
is that
still
even though we
active,
reset it,
and it's
the
still
movement opportunity math was
and
still
it's still setting
active,
the output for when
and it's
successful,
still
even though this was
and it's
false.
still setting the output for when successful, even though
So we just had to put that
this
extra
was
safeguard
false.
there so that our animatronic
So we
doesn't
just
accidentally
had to put that
move
extra safeguard there
while
so that
we have it
our
reset.
animatronic doesn't accidentally move.
So now that that's done, we're gonna go
While
ahead
we have it
and
reset.
make our
So now that
Foxy
that's
AI.
done, we're gonna go ahead
So we can
and
just
make
select
our Foxy
these
AI.
three
So we
chips
can just
because
select
and clone
these
them
three chips
because
because
we're gonna need these.
and clone them
It's almost the exact same
because we're gonna need
for
these.
Foxy AI except for
It's almost
one
the exact
difference,
same
the
for our
cameras.
Foxy AI
So before we
except
get
for
into that, let's get our
one
model
difference,
in place.
the cameras. So before we get into that, let's get our
Let's
model
use this
in
purple
place.
cardboard. This purple box.
Let's use this purple
There we go.
cardboard. This purple box.
Purple guy box.
There we go.
Alright.
Purple
Now that
guy
we have
box.
that, let's get
Alright.
for CV1.
Now that we have that,
Let's
let's
get
get
however many CV1
for CV1.
buttons. CV
Let's get however
because
many CV1
that's the only thing that
buttons.
I found out that
C
works for these cameras is
because let's see what
using these
I found
CV1
out that
buttons. So
works
I'm
for
gonna
these
spawn
cameras is
four,
using these
however many. I don't
CV1
care. I'm just
buttons.
gonna
So I'm
spawn
gonna spawn
four CV1 buttons
four,
for my four cameras.
however many. I don't care. I'm just
And
gonna spawn
configure
four CV1
one of these
buttons
buttons.
for my four cameras. And configure each
And
one of
then
these buttons.
1,
And then
2,
one,
3,
two,
and 4.
three,
Okay, so now that we have those, let's get
and
our actual
four.
camera. So we're gonna spawn in an
Okay, so now that we
RC
have
car
those,
set,
let's get
an RC
our
car
actual
set.
camera. So we're gonna spawn in an
This is when
RC
we
car
like
set,
drop our
an
maker
RC
frame.
car set.
It's gonna spawn these two.
This is
Just
when
spawn
we
this
like
and
drop
a
our
car.
maker fan.
Now
It's gonna
what we're gonna use,
spawn these two.
we're actually gonna use the
Gonna spawn
car
this
for
and
it
the
because
car.
as you can see, you
Now what we're gonna use,
can view
we're
the
actually gonna
car's
use the
perspective
car
through
for it, because as you can
the
see,
tablet.
you can view the
So we're
car's
gonna go ahead and
perspective
shrink
through
our
the
car
tablet.
down some.
So we're gonna go ahead and shrink our car
With
down
low
some.
enough that we can still see it. Now let's configure this car,
Low
this
enough that we can
RC
still
car.
see it. Now let's
You can
configure
recolor
this
if you
car,
want. I'm not gonna do that.
this RC car. You can
Let's
recolor
go
if you
down to
want. I'm not
tags,
gonna do that.
and we're gonna give this RC car a tag.
Let's go down to
So I'm gonna give
tags,
it
and we're gonna give this RC car a
CV
tag. So I'm
C
gonna give it
CVC. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be
CVC.
something that's independent to the car. Yeah. So
It
now let's
doesn't
go
have to
to
be long.
respawn.
It
We're
just
gonna
has
take
to
that
be
on.
something that's independent to
We're
the car.
gonna
Yeah.
take off
So now let's go to
default visual
respawn. We're gonna
effects, and
take
then we're
that
gonna set the
on.
delay
We're
all
gonna
the way
take
down
off
to its
use
minimum
default visual effects, and then
value.
we're gonna set the delay all
So
the way down to its
now once you
minimum
have that,
value.
you can now
So
freeze the car
now once you have that,
because
you can now
that's
freeze
gonna
the
help it
car
stay in the air. It's not gonna fall down when
because
it's freeze. So
that's gonna help
next
it
up, we're gonna
stay
get
in the air. It's not gonna fall down when
CV1
it's freeze.
object
So
respawners.
next up, we're gonna get
You're gonna spawn however many of these.
CV1
There are
object
cameras.
respawners.
One,
You're gonna
two,
spawn however
three,
many of
4.
these. There are cameras.
And then you can
One,
place. And then you can
two,
move these
4.
wherever you
And then you
want.
can place. And then you can
So I'm gonna put
move
this one up
these
here.
wherever
Arrows
you
facing
want.
whatever
Like,
towards our
put this one up
towards our
here.
buttons.
Arrows
Now your
facing
car is gonna spawn right here.
whatever towards
These arrows
towards our
are
buttons.
gonna point,
Now your car is gonna
or
spawn right here.
whatever the arrow
These
direction these
arrows
arrows are pointing in.
are
That's
gonna
the
point,
direction your car is gonna be facing.
or whatever the direction these
This is
arrows are
gonna be
pointing in,
facing
that's the
down.
direction your car is gonna be facing.
I'm just gonna put this one facing
This is gonna be facing
directly
down.
at
And
our
this one
animatronic.
facing directly
Place this
at
one
our
facing
animatronic.
towards our other
Place this one
animatronic.
facing towards our other
And I'm gonna place this
animatronic.
one just right over here.
And I'm
I think
gonna
both of
place
them.
this one just right over here.
Actually, never
I
mind.
think
I'm gonna
both of them.
move this towards my other system
Actually,
that I
never
used
mind. I'm
to
gonna move this
actually make
towards
them
my other
to make our
system that I
first ones.
used to actually make
Now that you
them
have those,
to make,
now
to make our
configure each
first ones.
object respawner. And what you're gonna
Now that you
do
have
when you
those,
get to that
I'm gonna configure
is you're
each
gonna put in
object
a tag
respawner.
to respawn as a
And what
tag
you're gonna do when
you
you get to
gave
that
your RC car.
is you're gonna put in a tag to respawn as a
CVC,
tag you
and then you're
gave
gonna
your RC
tick
car.
on change rotation on respawn.
CVC,
Don't have to change
and
any
then
of
you're
these.
gonna
Just click
tick
change
on
rotation on
change
respawn.
rotation on respawn. Don't have to
And if
change
clear
any of these.
velocity
Just click change
is
rotation
off
on
somehow, you're
respawn.
gonna want to return that on
And if
because it
clear
should be on by
velocity
default.
is off
So
somehow,
I'm
you're
just gonna
gonna
put
want
CVC and then
to
change
return
rotation on
that on. It
respawn
should be on by
for
default.
all of these.
So I'm just gonna put CVC and then change rotation on respawn for all of these.
And there you go. Now let's go ahead and actually set up. Let's actually connect these.
There you go.
So
Now let's go
let's
ahead and
drag the when
actually
button
set
is
up.
pressed
Let's actually
of one of
connect
your
these.
buttons to the red
So
pin,
let's drag the when button
which
is
is it's
pressed
going over
of
there,
one of
but
your buttons to the
it's
red
gonna
pin,
respawn our object by its
which
tag,
is it's
which we
going
put
over
in
there, but
earlier.
it's gonna respawn
And
our object
you're gonna do
by
this
its
for
tag,
each camera and each
which was put
button.
in earlier. And
Make sure
you're
you
gonna do
have
this for
one
each camera and each
button
button.
for each camera.
Make sure
Otherwise,
you
it'll
have one button
break. It'll
for
try to spawn
each camera.
multiple.
Otherwise,
It'll
it'll
try to
break. It'll
respawn
try
it
to
to
spawn
multiple locations at once. You don't
multiple.
want that.
It'll try to
So now when
respawn it
we
to multiple
press
locations at once. You don't want
buttons,
that.
the camera
So
will
now, when we press
snap to each of those
buttons,
positions.
the camera will
Will
snap to each
trail
of those
there.
positions.
Okay, so now we're ready to
There's a little
actually
trail
make
there.
the circuits work. So what you're
So
gonna
now
need
we're
next
ready
is a
to
CV2
actually
trigger
make
volume.
circuits work. So what you're gonna
Should be
need
the
next is
first,
a
the third thing that comes
CV2
up is your
trigger
trigger.
volume.
But
Should be
drag
the
that over
third thing that comes up
the
is the
object
trigger.
respawner you want
But drag that over the object
your
respawner you
ones.
want
You're gonna drag that over the object respawner you want to
your
be affected
ones. You're
by
gonna drag that over
Foxy.
the object respawner you want to be
To be
affected
affecting our Foxy.
by Foxy.
So now that we got this,
To be
you
affecting
next you're gonna get a
Foxy.
list get count.
So now that we got this, next you're gonna get a list get count.
A equals yep.
A equals yep.
And that's it. I'm gonna set this to 1.
and
Set this
that's
value to 1 with your connect tool.
I'm gonna
And
set
you're going
this
to drag
to
this list over to
1.
the objects
Set this value to 1
where
with your
you
connect
to the
tool.
objects
You're gonna
output
drag this list over to the
of your
objects
trigger volume.
where you
Now let's
to
configure
the
this trigger
objects
volume
output
and
of your trigger volume.
and let's
Now let's configure this trigger volume
get this filter by
and
tag. Only detect objects with tag. We're gonna put our tag
get
for
this filter by
car.
tag.
So
Only
CVC,
detect
it's only
objects
gonna
with tag. We're
detect
gonna put
objects with
tag
attached
for car.
CVC so that it's accurate
CVC.
as
It's only gonna
possible.
detect
Now you see it's
objects
already
with
outputting
attached CVC
a
so that
true
it's
value
accurate as possible.
because the car is already
Now you
in
see
it.
it's already outputting
What this
a
does
true
is it
value
checks if
because the car
there's
is already in it.
one
So what this does
object
is it
in it,
checks if
and since that object
there's
is
one
guaranteed to be our RC car,
object in it,
every time
and
it's
since
gonna
that
output a
object is
value true.
guaranteed to be our RC car,
Now
every time it's gonna
we
output a
can
value
go over to our
true.
AI control, configure it,
Now we can go over to our
get to
AI
our
control,
inputs. Let's
configure,
add an input, give that a
get
bool
to our
variable,
inputs, let's
and
add an input, give that a
you're gonna
bool
name that
variable,
camera
and
is watching.
you're gonna name that camera is watching.
Now I'm gonna move this up with our other variable, and now you're gonna connect and then
Now I'm gonna move
drag
this
that
up
over
with
to
our
the
other
equals
variable, and now you're gonna
chip.
gotta connect and then drag
The
that over to
true,
the
the
equals
output value of your
chip.
equals chip over to this.
The
So
output value
now
of your equals chip
that
over
we
to
have
this.
that,
So
let's
now
go
that we
inside.
have that,
Let's edit our AI
let's go
control me.
inside.
Let's edit
Let's
this.
edit our AI
We're actually gonna get
control link.
a
Let's edit this.
if
We're
value.
actually gonna get a if value.
This if what this if value does is it check is it
This if
check
what
if
this if value does
what
is
the
check is it check if
checks if
what
the
the
input value is true, and if it is, then it's gonna
checks
output
if
this value, and
the
if it's not,
input
gonna output
value
this value.
is true,
So we're
and
gonna
if it is,
connect the
then it's gonna output this
condition
value, and
to
if it's not, then output
camera
this
is
value.
watching.
So
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
connect the
connect the
then.
condition
We're gonna
to
connect the. We're gonna
camera is
get our
watching. We're gonna
AI
connect the
value
then.
variable output
We're
and put
gonna
that
get
in the
our
else
AI value variable
of our
output
if value.
and put that in
And
the
for our
else
then, we're gonna set this
of our if
to
value.
a
And for our
number
then,
somewhat
we're gonna
below
set this to
what your minimum
a number
AI
somewhat
value is.
below
So I'm gonna put -3
what your
just
minimum
to make sure, just to be
AI value is.
sure it
So I'm
doesn't
gonna put
move.
-3
So normally
just to
you'll
make
set
sure,
a negative
just to
number
be sure
if your
it doesn't move.
AI value is like
So normally you'll set
0.
a negative number if your AI value is
And now you want to, instead of
0.
this one going to all of your AI values, so you're
And
going to
now
put
you
the
want to,
if values.
instead of this one
If values
going to
output into
all
all
of
of
your
your
AI
AI
values, so you're going to
values.
put the if values
It's going to
output
do
into
that.
all your AI values.
Now
Just going to do that.
we're gonna make our animations.
Now
So I'm
we're
just
gonna
gonna get
make
animation
our
controller
animations. So I'm just gonna
and
get
move this up here.
animation controller
Then you can
and move this
configure
up
your
here.
animation controller. Talk off looping.
You can
Turn off
configure your
looping.
animation controller. Toggle
Connect the
off
finish to
looping.
the stop
Turn
if you
off
want.
looping.
And just clone
Connect
this
the finish to the stop
however
if
many
you want.
times you need.
And just
Clone it
clone this
5 times.
however many times you need. So clone it 5
Now I'm gonna
times.
name it. I'm gonna name all my animations.
Now I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna name all my animations.
One. Oh, stage. Stage 1.
One. Stage 1.
Wow. you're you're
Wow.
really rowdy right now, aren't you?
You're really,
Anyways,
you're really rowdy right now, aren't you?
Let me do
Anyways,
this. I'm gonna just explain the if value right there was. The if
let me
value
do this.
was
I'm
basically
gonna just
checking.
explain
The if
the if
value was
value right there
checking
was. The if
if
value was basically
the
checking. The
camera
if value was
was
checking
watching or not, and if
if
it was, then it's gonna
the
send. Then
camera
it's gonna replace
was
all our
watching
AI
or not, and
values
if it was,
with
then it's gonna
the else
send. Then
value that we
it's gonna
put in,
replace
which
all
should
our
make
AI
it
values
possible
with the else
for
value that we put in, which should make it
our
possible
animatronic to progress forward
for
until this becomes false, in
our
which it'll
animatronic to
upload
progress
our
forward
actual AI value
until
into all our
this
movement
becomes false, in
opportunities.
which it'll upload our actual
So I'm gonna
AI
connect
value into
stage
all our
1,
movement
stage
opportunities.
2, 3,
So I'm gonna connect
door,
stage 1,
jump scale.
2, 3, door, jump
Now I'm
scare.
gonna actually move my animatronic to those positions. So
Now I'm gonna actually move my
added,
animatronic to those positions. So
added, you
added,
move it,
added, you to
connect it,
move it, connect it,
and blah blah blah. So I'm gonna animate my door
and blah
phase.
blah blah.
Gonna
So
have
I'm gonna
him
animate my
moving up
door
there.
vase. Just gonna have him moving up there.
Just gonna,
Doing the animate.
yeah.
Just gonna, yeah.
Anyways,
Anyways,
for our door stage,
for our door stage,
we're actually not gonna do anything because I don't know.
we're actually not gonna do anything because I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we're gonna connect the finished
All right.
our door stage over
So
to.
we're gonna connect the finished
We're gonna over
door
to
stage over
our
to.
AI value here. So we're gonna
We're gonna
add another
over
input
to
port.
our AI value
I'm just
here.
gonna label this one
So we're gonna
door.
add another input port.
Label
We're
this
just gonna label
finish.
this one
The
door.
door animation.
Label it finish.
And then
Door
we're gonna
animation.
get an and chip.
And then we're gonna
Oh,
get
we're gonna get
an
an and chip.
chip. If I can
If I
fucking
can
phone
find it,
we're
why
gonna
is
get an and chip.
it
If I can find it, why is it right here?
this? Let me place that down.
This place
And
that
now
down.
we're gonna connect the door
Now
closed input
we're
variable
gonna connect
to here
the
and
door closed
activate
input variable
MOM
to
variable
here
to here.
and activate MOM variable to here.
Or actually,
Or actually,
or in contrary, we can just
or on
connect
contrary,
the
we can
door
just
input to here. Door input to our go to
connect the
next input up
door input
in the
to
door
here.
itself.
Door input
Actually,
to
and
our
delete
go to next
this
input up
if
in the
and
door
and
itself. Actually, and delete
movement
if
opportunity
and
chips. We don't need those.
movement opportunity
And
chips.
now
We
this is
don't
gonna
need those.
check if doors closed. It's not. Blah blah.
And now this is gonna check if the door is closed. It's not. Blah
When
blah.
when the when our door animation is finished, it's gonna run all this
When
at
the
once instead of
when our
waiting
door
until
animation is
the
finished, it's
movement
gonna
opportunity
run
is
all this
successful.
at once instead of waiting
So
until
let's test that
an
out.
opportunity is successful. So
Like
let's
this,
test that out.
and you can see that every couple seconds this lights up because
And you can see that
it's trying to
every couple
move, but
seconds this lights up
the
because
camera is blocking it
it's
from
trying
doing
to
so. So
move,
we're gonna
but
move our camera.
but
You can
the
see now it
camera is
moves. So
blocking it
put it
from doing
back.
so. So we're gonna move
Now
our
it doesn't.
camera. You can see now it moves. So put it back. No, it
And
doesn't.
now we're allowing it to move, and boom! It instantly
Now we're allowing it to
door is
move,
closed. It
and
immediately
boom!
goes
It instantly
to our jump scare.
door is closed.
When our door
It
animation is finished, it
immediately
immediately goes to our jump
goes
scare animation
to our
because
jump.
our door
When our door
is not
animation is
closed.
finished, it
But if
immediately
it
goes to our
is,
jump scare
then
animation
it just
because
resets
our
back to
door
there.
is not closed. But if it is, then it just resets back to there.
So yeah, let's tweak this a little bit. Let's go
So yeah,
into our door state again. Let's
let's tweak
configure
this
this
a little
state
bit. Let's go
to
into
actually
our door state again.
go
Let's
to.
configure this state to actually go to.
Actually, never mind. We don't need to. We don't need to do that.
Actually, never mind.
We
We
just
don't
keep
need.
it the
We don't need to
same.
do that. We can just keep it
Just
the
having it
same.
reset and then reactivating it again every time.
Just having it reset
See, time consuming,
and
so
then
we're not gonna do that.
reactivating it again every time.
And
See,
that's
time
our
consuming, so we're not gonna do that.
Foxy AI
And
CV2
that's
tutorial.
our
Um, if you
Foxy
just skipped to this
AI
portion and you
CV2
missed out on all
tutorial.
this, then
If you
no,
just
you
skip to
didn't.
this portion and
Then
you
you
missed out
wouldn't
on all
have been able
this,
to complete
then
this
no, you
section of the
didn't.
video
Then
because you don't
you
have
wouldn't have been able to
this yet. And you're
complete
gonna need to. You would
this
have needed
section
to
of the
go
video
back
because you don't have
to watch the
this yet.
normal CV2
You're
tutorial.
gonna need to. You would have needed to go back to watch the
But
normal CV2
anyways,
tutorial.
this video
But anyways,
took so long to. This video took
this
so long to
video
come out.
took so long.
Sometimes to make.
This video took so long to
Some
come
it took
out.
some time to plan to make. I had to
Some
make
time to make.
everything
Some it took some time to plan
prior to the
to
tutorial
make.
just
I had
so I
to
knew
make
what I was doing,
everything
and I actually
prior
learned
to the
some things
tutorial just so I knew what I was doing.
in this tutorial that I
And
hadn't figured
I
out
actually learned some
beforehand,
things
such as these and
in
chips.
this tutorial that I hadn't figured out beforehand,
So
such as
that's
these
so that's
and
fun. And
chips.
also the delay chips, no timer chips, actually
So
do
that's fun. Also the delay
so a
chips,
continuous
timer
output. So
chips
that's
actually do
so I guess we all learned something in this exchange.
so a continuous output.
Anyways, if
So
you
I
liked
guess
the
we all
video,
learned something in this exchange.
subscribe and whatnot.
Anyways,
I
if you
don't know.
liked the video,
I don't know.
subscribe and whatnot.
Subscribe. I don't really care.
I don't know.
I do care. I actually do care.
I don't know.
I don't know what I'm
Subscribe.
saying.
I don't
If you
really
like this
care.
video,
I do
like
care.
and
I actually do care.
subscribe.
I don't, I don't know what
And
I'm
if you
saying.
have any
If you like this video,
suggestions, what I
like and
can do
subscribe.
next, then
And if you
leave it
have
for
any
me
suggestions, what I
in the comment
can do
section.
next, then
But
leave it for me
that's basically it.
in the comment section.
And
But that's
I'll
basically it.
see you. I'll see you in the next one.
And
Bye.
I'll